Kind of goes back when I was younger, where I initially went. My dad and my mom, just growing up in the culture that they grew up in, education kind of took a back seat. It was more so like survival, work in order to take care of the family. My dad really instilled a love of education early into me, and he would drive me around campus, through the campus, and he was like, one day, you can go here. And so from elementary up until high school, when I filled out my application, I knew I wanted to come here. And so I was on the road to my dream, and suddenly a divorce that was really hard, and I found out I was pregnant and had to withdraw. I had some complications from that, and so unfortunately I had to leave. I was in Lee Hall, and I had to fill out the paperwork to drop my classes. And walking out, like, it was kind of like the enemy was just, you're a failure, this wasn't for you, nobody's in your family ever did this, how could you think that you could do it, you're gonna be a statistic. And so by the time I made it to my car, I was beat up, I was crying. And God was really deep in my faith then, and God promised me that He would bring me back to that moment. And so 10 years later, the opportunity came up, and I chose to come back to the university because this is where I started, and I knew that this is where I wanted to finish. One day, my husband was out running errands, and he had heard an advertisement for Compete LA on the radio station. And so he called me up, and he was like, hey, I know we've been kind of talking about it. Maybe you should check it out. So I reached out, and I was hooked up with the coach, Brandy. She kind of got the ball rolling from there, and I didn't really have to do much after that. She called me back up, and she had went over my transcript and told me I needed like 7 classes. And so I was like, what? I knew I was close to finishing, but I wasn't sure at that point that these credits were even gonna stick because they were over a decade old. My coach at Compete LA was really very personable. I felt like she was doing it for her, like how somebody would put forth effort if it was them. I felt like she really wanted me to succeed, and she really wanted me, to finish. And just having that support after being out so long, and just that positive interaction, it made a world of difference because I felt like I had somebody on my team. Well, my husband, through my experience, he reached out to Compete LA as well. He went to Northwestern for a stint. He's been in the oil field since he was 19, and he wanted to get back into school for engineering. And so he reached out to them, and we just found out that Compete LA now has this new program called Compete LA Academy, which serves as a bridge. They can take classes through that program in order to get into the university of their choice. I brought my daughter on campus to pick up my cap and gown. When I withdrew, I was actually 3 months pregnant with her, so that was like huge for me. And my dad used to drive me through campus. I was able to walk with her on campus. And so just to show her that, this can be done, I think is really big for my family. And so I hope that her seeing me walk across that stage and accomplish this, that it'll be a motivation to her as well.